All right, I'm going to officially welcome everyone to this is our fourth equity webinar, and the theme is combating ableism. And the Office of Equity really wanted to do this to engage the Burlington community in conversations about equity topics and themes throughout the year. So we did one on restorative practices, one on racial trauma, we did Beyond Black History Month, and this is the fourth in the series. We have two more coming up, just to a little PR before we get started. One is April 30th, specifically for Asian and Asian American and Pacific Islander communities. And that's just a solidarity in circles. And when we have one May, I'm not going to say the date because I don't have it in front of me. That's hosted by Outright Vermont to address some of the LGBTQ issues in our community. So without further ado, welcome. Thank you all for coming. And I would like to turn it over to our facilitators who could just do a brief introductions. Whoever wants to go first.
I guess I'll go first. Hi, I'm Eva. Most of you probably have met me somewhere throughout the BSD world. I used to go to Burlington High School, but I don't anymore. I work at Healthy Living Market and Cafe in South Burlington, and yeah, I'm excited to be here and talk about my disability, which is Williams syndrome. It's a genetic disability, and I'll go into depth a little bit more later, but thank you for coming.
Yeah, I'm Zaley. I'm the other facilitator. I am a BHS graduate last year. I'm now a first year UVM student studying neuroscience. And I'm really looking forward to talking during this circle and stuff. I enjoyed doing the first one that we did on restorative practices, and I thought it was really interesting. So I'm looking forward to it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Erica Saunders, and I am a employee at Burlington School District. I'm a special education compliance coordinator, which is a brand new position. So don't be concerned if you don't know what it is. We're sort of figuring that out as we go along. So excited to be here and participate and hear stories and help with the circles. Thanks, everyone, for being here.
All right, so a little bit on the format of this evening. In retrospect, we as teammates really thought that webinar was not the best name for these series because they're really like participatory workshops. So we're going to kind of show some slides and do a little bit of education about what ableism is and how it shows up in schools. But then after that, we're really hoping that folks on this call can join in the conversation by participating in a circle discussion with rounds. And we'll go into that more later. So without further ado, Josh, my lovely tech assistant and equity partner over here, if you don't mind putting up the slides.
Autumn, can you see that?
Yep, we are good. So again, the topic and title of this webinar or this workshop, this equity workshop, is combating ableism. What is ableism and how it shows up in schools? You can go to the next slide, Josh. And those are our lovely facilitators. All right, take it away. Zaley, can you read through? I think you're on mute. Oh, her mic is not working.
Okay, my mic was broken. Sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, we're good. So what is ableism? So it's a type of discrimination that takes many different forms in all different areas. So some of the main ones that we have put as examples are lack of accommodations, deficit thinking, misunderstanding or making assumptions, viewing people who have disabilities with pity or contempt and or fear, bullying, harassment, anything in that category, staring, teasing, laughing, pointing, casual use of the R word, infantilism, and avoiding interacting with people who have disabilities. Eva, do you want to share?
Yeah. What is combating ableism? It benefits all people. What does accessibility mean to you? So this example here is saying, like, basically what it means is that the ramp doesn't just help this person in the wheelchair, but it helps everyone so that they can all go to that building, for example. Yeah.
So we also talked about how disability is like another form of diversity, and we should treat it as such and value it in that way. And so one of the quotes that we chose was that neurodiversity means that my brain is beautiful and yours is too.
Students with disabilities have legal right to a free and appropriate public education. But does it actually happen? That's the thing, is that in my personal opinion, I don't think it does actually happen, unfortunately. And I think what's great about tonight is that we're going to talk about it and try to change it. And that's all we can do about it. So, for example, in this picture here, for a fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. Okay, so you see how there's an elephant, and then there's all these different types of animals. Not every animal is going to be able to climb the tree because of various reasons. So it's the same as saying take a standardized test when you know you're not going to score well on math, and yet they still give you like high level math questions. So, yeah.
So then these are some of the action steps we came up with that you can take in order to start combating ableism. So asking before you help someone with something, asking people what terminology they prefer. So some people prefer person first language, whereas other people prefer identity first language. So person with disability versus disabled person, or in the context of whatever their disability may be, you just want to ask each individual person. Thinking twice before using an accessibility resource, such as a stall, a ramp, a parking spot, creating accommodations in a school or work environment. Obviously, that's the main focus here and is so important. Prioritizing inclusion, stopping bullying, just speaking up in general, and creating systems of support for accessibility.
Let's talk about combating ableism. In breakout rooms, we will use a restorative circle format to discuss the presentation. Please be prepared to engage and participate. Thank you for having us. I'm excited.
So Josh, if you can stop sharing the screen so we can see. before we go into the breakout rooms, yeah, let's give them some kudos for all that information. Thank you. Thank you, Eva and Zaley. It's so critically important. One of the purposes of these equity webinars is to actually make recommendations to the Office of Equity of how we can do better and within the school district. So before we go in the breakout rooms, I just would love my partners to introduce. I don't think I even fully introduced myself. So hi, everyone. I'm Autumn Bangura. I'm the Burlington School District Equity Instructional Leader. And my role is primarily working with students and teachers on curricular issues, sharing resources. And I'm also a member of the Office of Equity and many restorative practices teams. And I'll pass it over to Sparks.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. I am Sparks, the Director of Equity for the district. I won't get into my roles and responsibilities in the district. There's a lot. But the thing I will say, the Office of Equity, as we look at racism, as we look at white supremacy, as we look at this work, one of the things we are committed to is eradicating ableism and really supporting this work throughout our system and making sure we are taking the work seriously and holding people responsible that violate the policies, violate the laws, and it is another form of harassment. So I think that's the piece that we really need to be clear on. It is harassment. And if any of you or any of the students that you work with or see are witnessing any of this, they need to report it to any of the adults in any of our schools so it can be thoroughly addressed and or investigated if need be. And again, I want to just thank you all for being here and participating in this webinar. And I'm going to pass it over to Josh.
Thank you, Sparks. Good evening, everyone. I'm Josh Meyer. I'm the Restorative Practices and Positive Behavior Intervention Support Coordinator for the district. And I also have the honor of working with Sparks and Autumn in the Office of Equity. And we're just grateful for everyone being here this evening and for our awesome facilitators as well.
All right, so we're going to move into breakout spaces. And based on the numbers, I think 3 would be good. And I'm also putting in the chat for people who like to follow a circle template that's visible to everybody. Some people like to be able to see the questions prior to answering them. So anyone can go into that doc and view that while Josh gets us in our waiting rooms. And then we will come back at 6:50 to share out recommendations for the district. So as you're thinking about the questions that are asked and you're sharing information, think about what recommendations could be shared for the whole district, for the whole group.
Josh,
Hi, Tom.
how are you?
Good.
Good.
And
I got the invite, but I'm doing 2 things at once right now.
no worries.
So I plan to come back at 6:50 to hear the debrief.
Great. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for being here.
Of course. No
All right.
problem. We'll see you in a little bit.
See you soon. Talk soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
It looks like Eva and I got put in the same breakout room.
Oh yeah, Eva should be with me. That's
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me switch that. Eva will go with Autumn. Okay, Eva's with Autumn. Let me, we have some new participants here, so I'll put them.
Perfect timing, and welcome to you that just arrived. We're just about to go into a circle, so you'll get some direction there and pop right in. Welcome, Courtney. Hi, Shannon. Hi, Monica.
Hi, Autumn. Am I supposed to be in a different room?
Josh is going to put you in a breakout room.
Oh, I'm still in the main room.
Yeah. Thank you so much to all you school board commissioners for being such dutiful attendants.
How does that look? Got the third group is a
You
little
got to get
is
Zaley.
smaller.
You got to get Zaley and I in the rooms because we're the facilitators.
You're not in the.
I'm not in the room.
Oh, let me
No,
move. you.
Eva and I got put in the same breakout room.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let me get you back. Sorry.
So there's one facilitator in each room.
Yeah, and Erica's in room 3. You all.
I think I was in 2.
Yeah, it says that you're in there, so I'm just trying to figure out how to get you back in there. It's odd. It says that you're in room 2. Let me move. This is weird. So you're in the room on the thing. I got to try to get you back in there.
Which breakout room should I be in? Because it does let me join a breakout room, but that was the breakout room that also had Eva in it.
No, I moved you over. You should be all set.
I should join it. Okay, great.
No. Yeah, go back to your room. Yes, that should be fine.
There's Eva.
I have Eva with you in room 2 now. So if you go back to room 2, Autumn, you should be fine.
I don't know how to get in there. How do I
Huh?
get in there?
Because it has you in room 2.
Okay, wait, I'll go back.
Are you okay?
Hello.
So the next piece of this, I think one breakout room still needs to close, but we always like to end with recommendations for the school district. I know in our conversation in our small breakout room, a lot of things came up already just in going through the rounds. So we just really invite people to either use the chat box or unmute your mics and to give some recommendations of next steps about combating ableism for the Burlington School District.
Can I go first in having a suggestion? I think that we should do a presentation for the high school, middle school, and elementary school. Something similar to this, where, we all we have a panel and then we open it up for kids to talk, because I think that in the number of years that I went to school, there was no real, there were sort of other presentations that were had that were really important. But I also think that finding some way to sit in our uncomfortableness and then make change is a great way to go.
Thanks, and welcome back to the other breakout group. We're sharing recommendations for how to combat ableism, and you can either type in the chat or feel free to unmute your mic and share. Thank you, Eva, and thank you, Maria, as well.
I'd love to share something. Hi, everybody. Good to see everyone back. I think for me, one of the many things, there's so many things, is from the work that I've done throughout the years as being a special educator, there's the law, and you all had mentioned that so wonderfully in the presentation, right? There is law that says people have these rights. And then there's the practice of the law and the understanding of it and the trueness to it. And I think we, in the educational world overall, really need to do a better job of the true spirit and understanding of the law. And that it's not just that we make sure that the words are on the paper and that the papers, are filed well, and that we get into classrooms and we start shoveling that doggone ramp and understand that that is the access point that everyone gets to come into, so that it's not just making sure that Erica has what she needs in these certain circumstances, but truthfully, if we thought about that in the classroom, we probably wouldn't need as many laws as we have. That it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Don't know where that came from, so if it's an offensive expression, I do apologize. But as a special education teacher, a person who I called myself the learning maximizer, because I don't teach special education. I teach children how to maximize their learning. So I was the learning maximizer. People would look and go, how do you get kids to do that? And I'm like, because I taught. I simply taught. And all the things that I learned in my profession as a learning maximizer are truly just good teaching. Really good teaching. Meeting kids where they are, getting the barriers out of the way, adjusting your lessons, knowing it's me that needs to change, not the kids. If they didn't do well, it wasn't their failure, it was mine. Just shifting that, not to blame the teachers, but to shift the perspective, I think is really important. And I think there could be then a world where we didn't have to have the laws. We have to have them because people were excluded. And imagine if we shifted and then everyone simply got what they needed. So thank you for that.
I want to share something that I'm going to quote Eva. She said, "Don't pull back, jump in the lake in the deepest part." Let's talk more about it. This is just a start. Talk more about it in schools, and really realize, what kind of language should be used. How do we talk about disabilities? What is the role of educators to not only meet the needs of students with disabilities, but to also educate students without disabilities. How to have a more inclusive society.
I was typing something in the chat. Hi, everybody. It's good to see you all, and thank you for being here and for this important conversation. I really appreciate it. I was typing in the chat, but I figured maybe I'll jump in. And I just wanted to thank Eva and Maria at first for asking us to center people and students with disabilities in our development, in our professional learning, and in our development as a community. I think it's an incredibly important point. And I loved Erica. I lost the language you used already, but I love the idea, that sort of empowering language. Language matters, right? And thinking about all of our community from an asset, a perspective of what our strengths are is so important. So thank you all.
All right, well, it is a beautiful evening, so I just want to thank everybody for coming. Eva or Zaley, do you want to say any closing words?
I'm just super thankful, and I wish this could go on longer because I have basically years and years and years of stuff to say, and it's really hard in 50 minutes to say all you want to say, because I feel like I didn't even brush the surface. So we should do more of these.
Yeah, I think we started getting into some really interesting discussions in our room, and I think there's definitely a lot more to be said, but it was great to, have that conversation.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Be well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Great
Thank you.
job, everybody. Bye-bye.